Talent development and workforce development is one of the top challenges facing our community, facing our employers and all of our businesses. And it's one of the top challenges, or one of the top goals, that came out of our planning conference this year of the York County Regional Chamber of Commerce. Today we are talking with Stacey Moore, Dr. Stacey Moore, President of York Technical College now. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And we want to hear about, Stacey is our lead captain of our one of our 4 strategic goals for this year. And we're going to talk to Stacey today about that goal and hear a little bit about that. So Dr. Moore, I know this is your career focus. This is what you're focused on. So tell us a little bit about the obstacles facing our employers today, our businesses, when it comes to talent and workforce development.
Absolutely. Well, there's unfortunately many, but it also means there's many opportunities, right? And so one of the things I think we often hear and we all talk about is there's a huge talent issue. There's not enough people with particular skill sets for particular occupations. That's true. That is true. And one of the biggest issues, there's not enough people with particular skill sets in particular areas. What's not true is that there's not enough people. And so that's key. And so when I look at the workforce challenges, you know, like with most things in life these days, we're talking about pre-pandemic and hopefully, you know, knock on wood, post-pandemic, right? But so this stuff existed beforehand. And what I really mean by that is we have a lot of people, very talented people in this region, in York County, in the larger region as well. They're not all skilled in the areas that are needed. So your high demand areas, and again, the pandemic just exacerbated this problem. High demand areas, advanced manufacturing, right? Health and human services, information technology. And I would add in this region, a growing hospitality and culinary kind of emphasis that requires increasing levels of credential and skill to meet the needs that are kind of coming to this area. So what we really have to think about, and what employers are faced with, is we have populations of people that need to reskill into these high demand areas that aren't currently there. They might be in occupations that honestly are more recession prone. We need to help them get into occupations that are more recession resilient into these areas. We need, we have a growing, unfortunately, the pandemic also exacerbated the trade skills gap. So you're talking about these technical areas that are they're lucrative, high demand, highly technical areas, but a huge skills gap. So there are enough people, but we've got to help reskill, upskill into these areas, and then talent pipeline. So that would be a next big one for me, which is, you know, if you go all the way back to the recession from 2008, right? So there was what we call in higher ed the birth dearth. Everybody calls it that. So our birth rates have not recovered. They're not likely to. So demographically, you know, the nation's going to hit a cliff in about 20. We can't grow 13-year-olds right now or so. So, you know, we're going to hit this cliff where high school graduates fall off. Now, this region, the buffer we have is there's growing population.
That's right.
So that's a fantastic opportunity. One of the challenges in that, and why we have to go after maybe different opportunities, is, you know, the population growth comes primarily with families for whom one of the parents has a 4-year degree. Whenever you have families where at least one parent has a 4-year degree, those families they're not unlikely, but they're less likely to send their children to industry certifications, college certificates, diplomas, and 2-year degrees, your community and technical colleges and other training programs. That's not a bad thing. I mean, we need 4-year degrees, master's degrees, doctorates to do this, but it does mean that skills trades gap is going to grow unless we really do things differently. And talent pipeline also means we got to help our employers with work-based learning, internships, apprenticeships, the things that build loyal pipelines early, help our employers invest early and help them get there. That we have to be in higher education, increasingly flexible. Our employers, where they can, have to build in some flexibility, because we're also talking about, you know, we've got to meet people's needs. They're working full time and we want them to reskill. Well, we better have flexible training programs that allow for that while they're working.
That's right.
We also have a huge population out there. In this region, it's over 100,000. In the state of South Carolina, it's over 1 million of what we refer to as kind of students with unfinished business. That means they've got some college or some credential, but they didn't complete. That is a great population to go after. It's huge for the workforce. And with a little bit of time, energy, if we can identify them, we can bring them in, finish those credentials, and get them out into those high demand areas.
Sure. So let's talk about the goal that the Chamber has a little bit that came out of our planning conference. On paper, it looks rather benign. It's one item. We're going to create a diversified, countywide talent workforce task force. So the scope is much larger than that, and I know the intent there. So talk a little bit about the scope of what we hope to accomplish with that goal.
I am so excited about this goal because one of the things that you're referring to, Dean, is we have a lot of really important, talented players in this region who are working on workforce development.
Right.
You know, many community groups, many organizations. The challenge I think all of them are facing is that you have, you know, a small group in one agency trying to do these very big things. What we have the opportunity to do at the Chamber, and with the Chamber well positioned to do this, is bring together a diverse workforce, a diverse task force, I should say, of all of these groups. So all of that talent, all of that energy, all of that passion around workforce development in one place to figure out how we're going to collaborate. Where are there places that we already have similarities and connectivity? It's not about replicating work, it's about bringing together smart people to solve big problems. We're better together. If we can do that together, we can come up with the bold goals and the bold stratees to meet our workforce needs.
Find where the weak spots are. And take
100%.
those and move those on. So you mentioned a lot of groups that are involved in this. And you talked a little bit about why the Chamber is uniquely positioned for this, but why is the Chamber the right entity to take on this more collective process, if we will, a comprehensive?
Absolutely. You know, the Chamber, to me, and having the privilege and honor to serve at the Chamber knows businesses best. They know businesses best. We serve businesses. We understand businesses. We spend time with businesses at the Chamber. And our amazing Chamber staff does it every single day, all day. They know best what businesses are saying, what they need, and across a whole variety of industry sectors. So we're not just talking about one area or one type of industry. In addition, the Chamber is sort of, to me, the best convener of groups, facilitator. How can we really come together and honor the work that's been done, but bring it together to create more synergy to solve the big complex problems, again, together?
Absolutely. Without a doubt, you know, one of the things that we identified during our planning conference was that, you know, looking at where we need additional work in our community and where we're struggling. Or we may have multiple partners working in those, but they're kind of siloed. So how do we make sure that they are aware of what the other is doing, and that we can build a better unit there? So there's a number of initiatives that I know the group and your group team's already evaluating and looking at. We've sat in on a few Zoom calls already, you and I. Talk about some of those initiatives that we're kind of looking at right now that, you know, we may implement, but we're kind of evaluating those and determining, will those be a good fit for us here in York County? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, one of them, I'll go back to talent pipeline. So talent pipeline management, you know, the United States Chamber, as you well know, you all have been looking into this at the Chamber, we've been working on, has a really fabulous talent pipeline management program. So one of the great things would be to have one of our already very talented Chamber staff to be able to go through that program and really just even increase their skill, knowledge to really come and help continue to build bridges, for example, across, you know, workforce training programs and providers we have, employers, figure out what else, the synergies that are needed. How do we really tackle this problem, particularly when you think about needing to help people reskill, see themselves in occupations they don't even know, upskill, you know, attract those high school students. You know, one of the other challenges we have is that high school students in our career and technical programs do not choose manufacturing. None of them. It doesn't even make the top 10. So we've got work to do there, especially in our region. And that talent pipeline management program is well respected. There's tons of research around it, really well done. So we'd really like to grab onto that.
So sometimes it's as simple as marketing that to our students and to our students' parents. So they realize that this is a good career path.
You're right.
What else is in there? I know there's one or two other initiatives in there that we're looking at.
One of the things we're looking at, of course, is the profile of a successful South Carolina high school graduate, which through the Department of Ed and our school districts all working on that together. But one of the things, and we have some of the best schools in this region, so it's fantastic. And knowing those superintendents and working in them, you also have a level of commitment, dedication, and passion that is strong. they're struggling, you know, through this pandemic, and certainly it's a hard job. So one of the things in that profile, you're looking, of course, the sort of hard skills, right? Academic,
Sure.
technical. We might need better terms for this. And then the soft skills, so important, around leadership and motivation and persistence and work ethic, and how do we really kind of harness those relationship and interpersonal skills.
And those skills are across every job in every sector.
Doesn't matter the industry, it doesn't matter how much interaction you have with people on your job, they're critical across the board.
Right.
So really, how do we help? You know, we don't want to, nobody's interested, and certainly the school is hearing from us that we should just keep adding stuff. Like that somehow it's their fault or responsibility if we don't have. It's absolutely not.
No,
That's
absolutely.
a silly thing. But how can we work together to help maybe also harness some of the teachers' passions? Why are they doing this? Because they do it for noble reasons. So how do we, you know, maybe help them if they're feeling that they're not able to live their passions sometimes by working on, there's some great programs out there that many schools have already implemented, leadership-based programs that we're looking at to see, hey, can we do that and help bridge and involve employers more in our schools, because they are best positioned to do this.
And those particular activities are more public-private partnerships where industry is involved in those of kind of identifying and recognizing these are some needs we have. How can we help our K through 12 and our technical college and four-year institutions address that? So you've got a number of folks on your team.
Yes.
So who else is working on this from your team, and kind of what's next steps?
We have a great number of board members, which is fantastic already, from several industries and companies. So we have got James Jeter with United Way of York County, they're working on this bold goal of reaching 3,000 families by 2030 to
families out of poverty.
Yeah, exactly. So workforce development is a huge piece there. Jan Martin from Domtar, very dedicated board member, very community involved. Domtar is very community connected company. David Oxendine from Redline Chemicals, also somebody who's been incredibly involved in the chamber and broadly in the community to help with workforce.
And he's talked to me numerous times over the years on the soft skills of need for those employees to come in and have the teamwork, the ability to collaborate and work well together as a unit.
It's amazing. And an amazing commitment when you don't have to do this. This is all, these folks don't have to participate in this way. They've got plenty of work to do, and so it's really amazing.
And then there's Robin Kessler
from Transaxle. Also just highly committed, engaged community members. Sean Barnes from Comporium. I mean, you know, is there a better example of a company in the area who's as community connected and engaged with community development, advancing our, not just our workforce, but communities broadly. It's just really fantastic. And then David Williams also joining us from Williams and Fudge.
And he's a new board member this year, and he's
so
jumped in with both feet and said, hey, this is important to us
as
an employer, and we want to see the chamber kind of lead this effort.
Yes, and really brings home the, you know, we talked before about leadership type programs at high schools and colleges. This notion of positive, forward-thinking leadership, you know, is really central for him, and really something we want to build into as we think about workforce pipelines too.
Well, Stacey, this is it's a huge goal, and it's vitally important to our businesses. It's important to our community, and it's important to the chamber. You know, the workforce and talent development is an area that we made a decision 2 years ago that this was very important to us, and we were going to focus on it. And as we come through the pandemic, it's become even more of an issue and more critical, and we're going to push forward on this in a big way. So we look forward to big things. Congratulations again on your new role at York Tech, and we look forward to talking to you more about how as this goal advances.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.